some of what you may have done may have helped with the timing, right? I think you.
What's that?
I think you tipping off Big U. I think that definitely.
I did what?
I think you going online and saying that, and the only reason I'm saying this is that if you ever read any federal indictment,
I did what? I tipped him off.
You tipped him off via
What
online.
did the lady say in the recording I sent you?
Well,
please don't what?
Please don't tell. But
looks like the whole game's turning on Wack 100. 50 Cent just threw major shade, blasting Wack for allegedly snitching on Big U. And word is that tip-off might have played a part in Big U's indictment. The streets are even whispering that Wack might have been wearing a wire to set up some rappers. But hold up. Before anybody starts catching feelings, let's get one thing straight. These ain't my accusations. I'm just breaking down what the street's been buzzing about, so don't shoot the messenger.
We got up there, we came in and shit. You had Navy SEALs with him. 2 in all directions. Probably about 6 of them. Walkies in their ear, vested, strapped to their thigh, bullies on them, semis on them, magazine cartridges. I said, yeah. He ain't slipping.
Today's not the day.
Nah, 50 moved different.
Now here's where it gets real spicy. All of this reportedly popped off with one phone call. And guess what? Wack 100 himself admitted to it. He made a very specific high-stakes call, but not to Big U directly, but to Big U's wife, to tip her off about a looming federal indictment coming his way. And here's the wild part. Wack allegedly knew exactly when the feds were about to make their move. How would he know that kind of info unless he was tapped in real deep? Wait a minute. Who on the outside really knows that much about a sealed federal op? That ain't normal. And think about it, no, what kind of person gives out a warning like that unless they've got inside connections? That's the exact moment where 50 Cent reportedly started piecing things together. And suddenly, that whole he was wired up talk stops sounding like random internet gossip and starts looking like something real serious. Then came the Big U bombshell. The 43-count indictment dropped like a wrecking ball. We're talking RICO charges, extortion, wire fraud. The list was stacked with serious heat. But what really had people doing double takes? The feds also linked Big U to a 2021 case tied to the tragic loss of a young up-and-coming artist, RW. But oddly enough, that specific detail was missing from the 75-page indictment. Why? Word is Nevada's handling that part separately. Real hush-hush. But here's where it flips from wild to insane. The feds, they were pulling Clubhouse rants and podcast clips owned and dropped by none other than Wack 100 and actually using them as evidence. That's not just messy, and that's courtroom level messy. And who caught it first? DJ Academics. He saw it clear as day and didn't mince words. In a straight-up interview, he looked Wack in the face and said he believed he tipped off Big U. I think that definitely you did that. Boom! And how did Wack react? Did he shut it down, deny it? Nope. He laughed. Straight up. And let's be real. When your name's flying around in a federal case, laughing is not exactly the move you make unless something's up. This ain't the first time people been side-eyeing Wack 100 like he's got Fed ties. Let's take it all the way back to 2006. Wack and his brother got pulled over in Texas, and the cops found loaded heat, full mags, and more stashed in the car. Now keep in mind, both of them were convicted felons. That should have been an open and shut federal case, right? But nah. 5 years later, in 2011, the whole thing mysteriously got tossed. And not because the evidence was weak or the search was dirty. The motion to suppress, denied. So why'd the charges vanish? The case got dropped under something real specific. In the interest of justice. And anyone who knows how the system talks knows what that phrase usually hints at: cooperation. That was enough to make a lot of folks start raising eyebrows. And right after that, Wack's whole profile just skyrocketed. Out of nowhere, he's managing big-name artists, leaking exclusive info, and talking like he's got mics planted in every industry room. People started wondering, how did he move up so fast? And who exactly is feeding him all this inside juice? While Wack was moving slick, folks in his circle started catching serious charges. But the weird moves didn't stop there. Word on the street is that Wack got caught on a federal wiretap. Yeah, a recorded convo with a dude named Stutterbox.
60.
Hey, what Stutterbox?
Man, put that on Pyro.
But
Put that on
the
Pyro.
Stutterbox just
That's
called
gonna be
my
another
phone.
story we gonna talk about
Hey,
later.
what Stutterbox got to do with something?
I'm talking about that paperwork. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
You saying I'm on paperwork?
Yeah. Bro, am I lying? Put that on
Are
Pyro,
you
you
saying
not.
Wax on paperwork?
Put that on Pyro, you
Put
not.
that on 6-0 Wax
Put
on
on 6-0
paperwork.
Crip, you on paperwork. Put that on Pyro,
6-0,
you not.
put that on
He put it
6-0.
on
Put that on
6
Pyro,
on
now you
episode
gotta produce
60.
it. Now
Put
you
that on
gotta
Pyro,
produce
that
it.
you're not on that case.
Who's allegedly tied to a much bigger investigation connected to the Main Street Mafia Crips. So what was Wack doing on that line? He wasn't just shooting the breeze. According to multiple sources close to the paperwork, he was connecting dots, like laying out key info. Some even believe he was helping the feds build their whole case from the inside. And don't get it twisted, this ain't the first time rumors like this have popped up around him. Remember when he was tight with Birdman? They were running Cash Money West together. Heavy industry ties, big moves, and even bigger questions. The street's been talking, and Wack always seems to be right at the center when things start getting federal. Everything shifted when Wack 100 started managing Tekashi 6991, a move that had the street screaming career suicide. In an interview, Wack admitted that Birdman pressed him about it. Yeah, behind closed doors. Birdman didn't blow it up in public, but real ones noticed how he started moving differently. Kept things cool, kept things distant, and that silence said everything. But now let's circle back to 50 Cent. Wow, because there's more smoke there too. Wack's been managing the game, and everyone knows how messy the history is between 50 and Game. Instead of calming things down, Wack poured gasoline on it. Jumped on podcasts and platforms talking real greasy. He didn't hold back. They'll call 50 out by name, saying stuff like he's not street no more and that the industry's protecting him. Wack even claimed that when 50 touches down in LA, he's gotta check in. That's not just talk, and that's throwing shots with intention. Wack was basically throwing out the message. Without proper clearance, 50 Cent ain't safe out west. That's the vibe he was pushing loud and clear. And Wack wasn't just talking wild for no reason. He brought up an actual incident. He claimed him and his crew pulled up to the SLS hotel to confront 50 directly. But when they got there, according to Wack, the scene was straight up tactical. He said it looked like a military op. Wack said 50 was rolling with serious firepower, security so deep it felt like Navy SEALs strapped with machine rifles. That visual had the internet going crazy. Folks were clowning hard, like, why would Wack even put that out there? All it did was make 50 look untouchable. Then came the Big Meech and BMF drama. Wack couldn't keep quiet on that either. He started going in on how 50's been portraying BMF in the media. Said straight up that 50's milking the legacy just to line his pockets. He's squeezing BMF dry, Wack claimed, like the whole story's just a cash grab to him. Now here's where things start getting real strange. While Wack's been out here running wild, throwing jabs, stirring drama, poking at everybody, 50 Cent has been dead silent. No slick Instagram shots, no savage memes, no trolling at all. And for someone who built his entire brand off online beef and digital smoke, that silence hit loud. That's when the whispers started turning into real conversations behind the scenes. Sources close to the situation started saying the silence ain't just strategy, it's survival. Word is, 50 might believe Wack is way too close to some federal pressure, and maybe, just maybe, Wack's trying to bait him into something that could get real messy, real legal, real fast. And right when the internet started picking up that energy, boom! The Big U indictment drops. That's when all the scattered pieces started falling into place. A huge RICO case, 43 counts deep, pulling in 18 members of the Rollin 60s. But you know what really had people's jaws dropping? Guess whose name was nowhere on that list? Not Wack, not Big U, like not even mentioned. Now here's the part that really had folks throwing side eyes. Wack's voice is reportedly all over the supporting paperwork for that indictment. But somehow, he's not named in it. That's the kind of thing that makes people start asking real serious questions, like how you deepen those convos but stay off the charge sheet. Something ain't adding up, and just when things couldn't get messier, Wack dropped another bombshell, claimed that Adam 22, the founder of No Jumper, got caught up in the same RICO sweep. Now that hit close, Wack's a regular on No Jumper, so this wasn't some random drama. Wack even called into the show himself, saying he had just gotten off the phone with his attorney, trying to get legal help moving fast. He said he didn't want Adam saying anything that could turn sideways. According to Wack, they came and scooped Adam up that same morning and then circled back again. The tension off the charts. People started wondering who's really being watched and who's really doing the watching. But Wack wasn't done. He threw in one more twist. He straight up admitted he didn't know exactly what the feds were pressing Adam 22 about, but he was sure they were on his neck about something. And just when it felt like things were spiraling into chaos, Adam 22 jumped in and slammed the brakes on all the rumors. He went public and shut it all the way down. Said point blank, he wasn't arrested, not under investigation, and no, he ain't in any kind of trouble, at least for now. But Adam didn't stop there. He tossed a little shade of his own, calling Wack's claims the product of an overactive imagination. That jab, loud and clear. Still, Adam dropped something way more interesting in the process. He admitted that, yeah, the feds did pull up to his spot and speak to his lawyer. And what were they after? A cease and desist letter from Big U? Apparently, that letter was tied to a podcast episode from about a year ago, one where Loose Cannon allegedly said Big U had prior knowledge of what was going to happen to Nipsey Hussle before it actually happened. That's not just drama, that's deep waters. Adam didn't hold back. He made it real clear that the cease and desist letter the feds asked about isn't mentioned anywhere in the original indictment or criminal complaint. And to him, that's suspicious. Makes you wonder what the feds are really digging into when it comes to Big U. That's when the spotlight snapped back to Wack 100, since he's the one who first dragged Adam's name into this whole federal circus. But here's the kicker. Wack ain't on that indictment either. Not yet anyway. And somehow he still knows a whole lot. That's when the internet really turned on him hard. People started calling him Rat 100, and the comment sections, brutal. One user posted, "Wack is a terrific informant, man of many talents, snitching being one of them." Another wrote, "I've never seen a so-called G who knows so much about the feds. It's weird." And it is weird. People been wondering, how does someone with no badge know this much Fed level detail? Like exactly who's talking and when they're talking. That ain't just internet jokes anymore. That's years of street suspicion finally boiling over. So what's your take on all this? You think the streets are right about Wack 100? Is there truth behind all these wild allegations? Or is he just the most plugged in man in the game? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We're locked in and watching every single one. If you're feeling these raw, no-cap breakdowns of real street drama, go ahead and smash that like, hit that subscribe, and tap into the next video. You don't want to miss what's coming next.